How's it going, my friends? How's it going? We're here. We're masked up. You know why? Because the air is terrible. But look where we are. Oh, wait. Wait. Now. Ooh. We're at the Beijing Botanical Gardens. Oh, so majestic. We're looking at the fall foliage. Very beautiful. It's very crowded. It is very, very crowded. And it is the air quality is very not good. You look up the air quality index and it's literally like, do not go outside. This is very unhealthy. But we have our masks on, so KN95 hopefully will filter some of the nastiness out. But you know what's interesting is I have been experiencing a really dry throat and like been coughing a lot, and I think it's because of the air. But there's plenty of people here that are not wearing masks. I'm like, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Your choice.
Some people think it's not enough. They gotta do a little bit of smoking too.
Some people think it's not enough. Some people like to inhale the smoke directly. Yeah, there's a lot of people smoking too. It's kind of funny. It's a funny sight to see. Like here, I just want to show you guys. Can you see that? So that's smog. That is not fog. That is not clouds. That is pollution. Okay. So it's funny to see the people standing amidst the pollution. They're still like directly inhaling like. Everyone, this goes back to our conversation from earlier. Everyone has their way to regulate. Some people choose to do more unhealthy things than others, and that's okay. So anyway, it's a real shame that I wasn't able to show you guys the authentic Chinese meal from yesterday, the Beijing roast duck. I'm really sad about that, but it is what it is. I was actually pretty pissed. I was pretty mad. If you didn't notice from my very long post on Discord, I was kind of channeling all my frustration into that. Hi Tom. Hi Tom, how's it going? Hopefully my voice isn't too masked by my mask, but look, we're looking at the fall foliage. It's so beautiful in Beijing. Beijing Botanical Gardens. Yeah, we were masking it up. Okay. I'm glad you can hear me still. But yeah. So, dude, Dom, the air quality warning is unhealthy. Very unhealthy. So it says like, please do not go outside. This air will affect everyone in a negative way. So that's why I'm wearing it. I prefer the KN95 masks because if you've ever worn an N95, the circular ones, they're not very comfortable. The KN95 is way more comfortable and is also good for pollution. So yeah, but dude, I've been feeling like dryness in my throat and like been coughing a lot, and I think it's because of the air. So haven't worn a mask I know, me neither. Yeah, not since COVID. Yeah, I haven't worn a mask either. But anyway, how's it going, my friend? You know, there's something I wanted to talk about today. It's a specific type of meditation that I want to encourage everyone to try. Oh, you remember in Hong Kong they used to say the air was bad, but you didn't notice. Oh, I see. Well, yeah, I mean, part of it could just be because we're paying. Well, I feel like Hong Kong doesn't get as bad as Beijing. Beijing is like the worst, like one of the worst places in the world for air pollution. Oh yes, and then that's where it comes from in Hong Kong. That makes sense. So it's coming from this spot right here. We're in the center. So anyway, but there was one. Here, I'll tell you as we're walking down this nice fall road. We're talking about meditation. I'm so glad you're here because I want to talk about it with you. What have I been meditating on recently? I have been meditating on deprivation. I think that this trip to China has been really good for me, and it always is. I always crave deprivation. You know the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The higher you go up the triangle, the more your needs are met on higher levels. You know, at the top there's self-actualization. At the bottom there's basic needs like food, water, shelter. If you live too comfortably, it doesn't matter what level you're in. It's my opinion that if you live too comfortably in any of those levels and never have any sort of change or progression, you start to experience suffering. Ironically enough, it doesn't matter what level you're in. And so I crave experiences that make me move down a level, that deprive me of some of the pleasures that I like to experience in my life. Because sometimes I don't even realize that they're pleasures until they're gone, until they're all gone. So when I come to China, like, I realize how many aspects of my daily life I miss, and I took for granted. And part of it, it's not that like my quality of life is bad or anything. It's just that I just don't have those things. I'm deprived of those things. Like fasting, yeah, no, exactly. Like, so I grew up LDS, I grew up Mormon, right? So Mormons actually fast once a month. They fast once a month for 2 meals. 2 meals in a day. They don't eat. They just eat 1 meal. And they pray on it. The thing about that is that I don't think I ever took it seriously. Dom says, reminds me of someone was telling me a meditation soldiers do, where they imagine losing precious things. Yes. Well, here's the thing that I want to make sure to say. If you do it without intention, wow, this is a very old tree that we're looking at. If you do it without intention, then it doesn't matter. If you just go hungry for no reason, then you're just going to be thinking about how hungry you are and not actually ponder.
FYI, that's
Why?
A really old ass tree.
I know, I told them it was a really old ass tree. You're not meditating on it. You're just doing it just to do it, so there's no significance. So when I grew up and I did the fasting every month, nothing came from it. I didn't appreciate the food I had. I didn't gain any sort of new appreciation. It was just like, oh, I have to do this because my parents require it, because my church requires it. You know, my heart wasn't in it. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just thinking about it as something I had to do. Also similar to just meditating on impermanence. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. That's yeah. So this I think this connects all that. It's like a practical way to connect all of it. Here, can you hold my selfie stick for me? I'm gonna take off my jacket. It's getting a little bit hot. We're climbing the mountain. So, like that, after you fast, even a basic meal tastes so good. That's what I'm saying. I know. So I'm thinking about all the most basic aspects of living where I live. All the food that I eat, that I'm acquainted with. I mean, that I regularly eat, that I don't get to have. For example, like Brazilian food, Mexican food, the variety of food. Don't get me wrong, there's a huge variety of food here, but it's not the same variety that I'm used to. And so I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about my routine and how much I enjoy my routine, even though it's extremely mundane. And I was actually getting sick of the mundanity before I left. Now I'm missing it. You know what I mean? And it's because, like, I think I'm thinking about it so much more. I'm remembering, I'm reminiscing, I'm realizing that I'm missing something that I didn't know that I had. Sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone. I mean, that's kind of an annoying phrase that people like to say all the time, but it is true. It is true. So yeah, I'd encourage you, try. Doesn't matter what level of the hierarchy of needs pyramid you're on. Try and move down a level. See what happens. But when you do so, make sure you do it with intention. Think about it. If you fast, think about the reason why you're fasting. And think about how you're feeling while you're doing it. What kind of foods do you miss? What do you miss about eating? What do you miss about what do you enjoy about first the feeling of being hungry, and then the feeling of being satisfied after you've eaten, after you've been hungry for a long time? I mean, I would argue eating right after you've been hungry for a really long time is the best experience of eating you could ever have. Oh, 300 years old, this tree. This tree is 300 years old. Dom says, I like to focus on the sensations and try to relax. Aversion then doesn't feel like a problem. Sheesh. I know, 300-year-old. God damn. Yeah, focusing on the sensations is good. Like, yeah, that's a great way to really ponder. So like I guess the most basic example, the best one to talk about is the one we were already talking about, which is food deprivation. So like when you're feeling that hunger, feeling hungry, meditating on what does it feel like? What is that discomfort? What am I missing? What do I need? What does it feel like when I'm going to have that first bite? What's it going to taste like? What's the food going to taste like? I always find too that foods I normally don't like that much, when I have that first bite, when I have my first bite after fasting be a food that I don't normally like, I actually end up liking it. Like, for example, vegetables. I fucking hate vegetables. I'm sorry, I just do. But when the first thing I have to eat after a day of not eating is like a radish or something, I'll suddenly be able to taste all the flavors of the radish. I'm like, oh my God. Ah, so amazing. It's amazing how that happens. When you're... But another thing I noticed too is that when you eat the same pleasurable food over and over and over again, which I like doing, it suddenly, it starts to lose its pleasure. It starts to lose its magic. We humans crave variation. We need constant variation. We're pretty good at becoming acclimated. Pretty good at, you know, like, I'm not sure the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. So I've been feeling that these days. 2 weeks in China, I think, is excellent. 3 weeks is, whew, I'm starting to miss home. I'm kind of starting to miss home a little bit. It's good. Like, even though it's uncomfortable and I sometimes complain about it, I enjoy it. I enjoy the whole process. That's why I always crave going back to China. Hedonic treadmill. Yeah. It's kind of ironic because we're literally going up we're literally like hiking up a mountain right now. So I'm like panting as I'm talking. It's kind of fun. I'm like, you know, like, it is a little bit difficult to breathe out of. By the way, that's my mother-in-law and her sister. Yeah, so this is my mother-in-law. This is my mother-in-law and her sister. They're cute, aren't they? They have a special relationship. They're really cute. Yeah, so that's my mother-in-law. That's her sister. They spend such a long time apart, but as soon as my mother-in-law comes back, it's like they pick up where they left off, even though they spend sometimes decades apart. They still have that close relationship, which is how you know. Do you guys have any relationship like that where it's like, doesn't matter how long you spend away from that person, the second you see them again, you pick up right where you left off? That's the kind of relationship I want with everyone. And even with friends, it doesn't have to be family. I have a few friends like that, and I love it. It's like as I've grown older, I've become more impatient when it comes to people who require constant engagement. I just don't have the time for that. But also where it feels like you have to almost rebuild the relationship every time you meet up with them. I like having someone that I'm close to who we're so comfortable with each other. We know each other at the most basic level that when we meet up, we're just, doesn't matter what's going on in our lives. That's the thing, like when you reach that level of closeness and intimacy with someone, it doesn't matter what their job is, it doesn't matter what their hobbies are, it doesn't matter what their interests are or whatever. You could kind of care less. But what matters is how you feel when you're with them. So I feel like it's a deeper understanding of that person as a whole individual. Dom says, any other meditation or just the deprivation thing? Unfortunately, Dom, I'm not as dedicated as you are. But that's kind of what I've been trying to be a lot more in the moment. Oh, talking to animals.
Oh, wow.
I've been loving all the animals I've been encountering. This just brings that up for me. I like staring into animals' eyes and talking to them. I don't know if you could call that meditation, but I like to call it meditation. He said, bruh, I thought I had a nice attainment, but then I was talking to the teacher and he said it was a karmic apparition. What? Wait, Dom, you gotta tell me about this. A karmic apparition. So what you mean by that is like an action of your past that's now coming back to haunt you, something like that? What does attainment mean? Does that mean like an understanding of reality? Oh, you're not sure what he means. Oh, oof. Well, here's the thing. Here's something I've heard from other people. You could take it or leave it. And that's just it. You can take or leave whatever spiritual teachers tell you. I think that I don't know as much about Buddhism, but I do know about Hinduism. The way that Hinduism works, the classical Hinduism, is that the sages, they came up with these truths and these ways of meditating and, these basic ideas. And that's the best way to achieve enlightenment, but it's not the only way. And I think they all had the understanding that if you follow this pathway, it's the best way, but it doesn't mean it's the only way. So you can take some pieces and leave some pieces. No one person's going to know the best formula that works for you. Dom says, attainment is like you have access to a state, I would say. Many states going on. Each you can call an attainment if you want. Oh, so you thought you had a good access to a certain state of mind, but he convinced you that you probably didn't. Again, in my opinion, I think you can take that or leave that. It depends on what you're wanting. What do you want? Like, do you enjoy that state of mind that you're achieving when you're meditating, or are you looking for something else? He didn't convince me, but that's what he said. Oh, see, there you go. See, you already know. Yeah. I don't think it's like disrespecting in any way to like to receive the information and be like, okay, thanks. Perhaps that works for you. I'm not sure if it works for me. I think you can still be respectful of whatever spiritual teacher is telling you and say, yep, he probably knows what he's talking about. I don't doubt that. But also, I have some aspects of my own internal subjective experience that I know. So I'm gonna, do my own thing. You really enjoy the state. I love that. And that's probably what keeps you motivated to meditate every day. Well, that's the thing. People don't really always know about meditation. Is they're like, how do you do it every single day? Sometimes I feel like that too. I'm like, how do people do it every single day? It's hard to stay motivated. But if you do achieve a state like that, like what you're talking about, then it would make sense why you'd want to keep it, just dwell there forever. Okay. So Dom said, you're describing a fabricated state. It sounds quite pleasant and potentially insightful, but it's not Rigpa. I could try to find words for it, but if you have done so already. It is what appears to be a phenomenal state, but it does sound like it has insight value in the sense it's a powerful shift in commonly essentialized or refined qualities like center, location, distance, space, the phenomenal character of normal reality in many ways. Yeah, well, you could still cultivate it, and maybe this is just his way of saying, like, I think you're doing well for now. Maybe there's more later, but it's not like you need to jump to that next. It's not like you need to go to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I hate framing it in a way of like, you're not ready yet, or like, you haven't achieved the most, that's not what I'm saying. But I think it's just like, if you're enjoying where you're at now, there's nothing wrong with that. There might be more that you can achieve, but right now you don't need to. If you don't want to, then you don't need to. This spiritual teacher or others might be able to help you, but it has to be when you're ready for it. You have to be ready for it. Like for me, for example, I'm not even ready to have like a teacher or anything. I'm still establishing like a baseline. Like, okay, what does this all mean? What's my internal state? I'm still trying to understand like my own emotions and like where they come from and like my intuition and other things. Like I'm on the basic level. And I know there's certain aspects of spiritual growth that I have not achieved yet. And I don't want to try and achieve them right now because I'm not ready. Like, yeah, I'm not ready. You have to kill the Buddha at the end of the day. Yeah, so by that do you mean like kind of abandon the idea that you have to something. I think people have to abandon the idea that they have to reach enlightenment. They have to do that right now. They have to abandon that. Like, you know what I'm talking about? You have to be okay where you're at, and you can have something you're working towards, but don't like try and to eat it all in one bite. Take it like little piece by little piece by little piece, Rome wasn't conquered in a day. That's what my husband always says. I don't say that, but he does say that. Rome wasn't conquered in a day. Dom says, abandon authority, I think. There are probably a few angles on that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that as well. That as well. Yeah, I think it depends on what kind of person you are. If you're somebody who needs authority, then maybe it works for you. For me, I'm leaning more towards not. I'm leaning more towards finding it within myself and not needing it from external. I keep the external sources at bay and I utilize them when I need to, but it's not my only source of knowledge and insight. I don't think I'll ever have fully use an external source for all my spiritual knowledge and growth. Because I did that in the past. It didn't work for me. So, but I guess after these kind of experiences and talking to other practitioners, I don't care at all about attainments. Just happy to let the practice be what it is. I like that mindset. I think that's a good mindset to have. You accept it for what it is. You like it for what it is. Well, I feel like that's like the ultimate thing you want. Like, that's what you want. That's what life's all about. It's just, I mean, you think about Alan Watts and his philosophy. That's literally his philosophy is just, it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. Just aggressively. I'm going to say this over and over and over. Like, it's my mantra. It is what it is. Accept what is for what is. Dom also said, so much of my practice feels like gray areas and beyond description. I'm just like, who cares about trying to place yourself? Too much energy can be wasted on that. You know, I've gotten caught in that as well. Here, I'll show you guys. Yeah. I've been caught up in that as well. When I've meditated or when I've done certain things, I get caught up in this mindset of, okay, now I need to make sure I record it all so I can look back on it later. When I'm having some sort of experience, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to make sure I write it all down and got it all, you know, so I can do the work. Sometimes you don't need to do the tedious stuff. Are we moving on?
Do you want to?
Yeah. Which way are we going?
They want to sit because they can't handle going up the hill.
Okay, where are we going to go?
We can go anywhere you want.
Yeah, okay.
You want to go up the hill?
Let's go this way. Okay, we're going to go this way. Dom, yeah, like make notes? Yes. Yeah. Yep. So I've wanted to make notes while the experience is happening because I have certain ineffable things happen to me that I want to, but they're effable while I'm in the experience, but once the experience is over, then I can't write it down because I can't remember it. So I'm like, okay, I need to write it down so I can remember it later. Sometimes when you get trapped in that, sometimes when you have that mindset, I feel like you trap yourself. You know, you're distracting yourself from the thing that's right in front of you, the experience you're having right now, when you're so concerned about future you remembering what's happening to you now, if that makes sense. Sometimes I get caught up in that. Think of it like you're sitting down for a meditation, you're starting to reach a more state closer to absorption, and while that's happening, you have in the back of your mind, okay, so once I reach absorption, I'm gonna write it all down. Like, I have had that mindset before. Because like some people do say like you should like reflect and ponder, and I do think that's useful, but like you can't, there's certain circumstances where it's probably not best to just focus on that. That's just my opinion, but everyone's going around and collecting leaves, taking pictures of the fall leaves. It's actually quite beautiful up here. It's quite nice.
You know what they call this place?
What do they call it?
Xiangshan.
Xiangshan. Oh, Fragrant Mountain. Yes, I saw that. Xiangshan Fragrant Mountain.
You really can't smell it through our face mask.
You can't really smell the fragrance right here, but you know,
it is.
I'm sure at one point. Right here. It's nice. There are a lot of people. This is not the kind of place where you can have a tranquil walk through nature. This is the kind of place where you film a stream. This is the perfect place to film a stream because that's what everyone else is doing. Just have our own conversation. Everyone can enjoy nature in their own way. Some people, and this is something I'm trying to let go of, is like requiring that other people cultivate this experiences the same way that I do. You know, I prefer to be alone in nature and go to a place, like feel like I'm discovering something, like I'm going along a trail and I'm looking at the tree really closely and I'm pondering it, and it's a lot more meditative. And like, I have this in my head, like, if you just do this, then you'll feel the same way as me. You know, it feels very calming to me, very grounding to me. The truth is, not everyone's going to feel like that when you do that. If they do the exact same, even if they do the exact same steps, sometimes people's subjective experience prevents them from having the exact same experience as you. This kind of thing is not like my ideal, but it's still nice. That's the thing. I have in my brain, I'm like, this is not the place for you to blah, blah, blah. There's still that rigidness. I might just be rambling. Not sure if it's making sense. But I look around other people and I'm like, they don't know what having a real experience in nature is like. And it's like, why am I telling myself that? Why does that matter? Maybe they are. Maybe they're having the same experience here as I do when I am alone in nature. And that's the thing I need to accept. That's what you need to accept. Everyone has their own subjective experience, and it's not the same as yours. And so maybe you can learn something from other people. Which way do you want to go? Up? Okay. We're going to continue to climb the mountain. Another thing too, and I think the Hindu monk that I like following has also mentioned this before, is that, you know, you could do, there's two ways of going about spiritual growth. You could become a monk and go to a monastery and, you know, completely cut yourself off from the world and all of its distractions, and, you know, just meditate every day and receive spiritual inspiration every day, etc. Or you could live amongst the chaos and amongst the people and amongst the distractions and still try and do the same thing. He mentions karma yoga. He says that the one that's among everybody else is karma yoga. And it might be a little bit more challenging, but it can also be the most rewarding for some people. Now, that's not to say that people who go to monasteries, become monks, cut themselves off from everything, are doing it wrong. They're probably doing it right for them. But for some people, it can be more rewarding to try and what am I trying to say? Like, try and meditate even when you're in the busy streets of Beijing and among the pollution, and when you're physically uncomfortable, and when there's noise everywhere. It's like meditating in a sensory deprivation tank versus meditating in a massive crowd where smoke is blowing in your face, something's blaring in your ear, you know. Which one do you think will help you develop more mental fortitude? Just something to ponder. Personally, I don't know the answer, but personally, I also do like the variation. It looks like I have a unstable transmission. Oh no. Well, you know what, this time I did set it to record the video so I can have it for later, so I don't just lose all my footage. So we'll have the video of this at least, if people want to end up seeing that. Actually, it's mostly me who wants to end up looking back on it. I think of this kind of like a video diary, and if people are here and want to talk to me, and that's excellent, and I love doing that. It's a huge privilege for me to have other people come and want to discuss these things with me. So I'm very grateful for all of you. Okay, where are we going? We're looking at the map. I do not want to go to the peak.
No. Everything else is a little far away.
We can go to the Lai Qingshuan. How do you say that?
Yeah.
Or we can go to Shuangqing. It doesn't matter. You want to go over this way just for a bit?
Sure.
But then after we reach that, there's nothing else for
A while.
For like.
Let's go take a look at the residence.
Let's go look.
So this is, I think, like one of the emperor's
One of the emperor's vacation spots.
Staycation spots.
Staycation. Hell yeah.
Go out on a fragrant mountain. Amidst the smell
It was,
of flowers. And
you know,
everything.
I bet for the emperors, it was a lot more fragrant and a lot more pleasant. A lot less people. That's the thing. There's that bitterness coming back, which I need to get away from. I need to not be annoyed. That's what I'm working on. I'm working on not being annoyed. Oh, I like this. I like this little entrance. Very cool. Okay, I'm gonna spit. Don't look. So it's perfectly culturally acceptable to spit on the ground. So I'm taking advantage of that. Although I prefer not to do it on the sidewalk. I prefer to do it in a garden of some kind. But yeah, people do that all the time. Because it's better for you. According to traditional Chinese medicine, it's better for you to remove it from your body than leave it in. So I'll be following that, especially since what I'm ingesting needs to come out. It needs to come out. I'll say that. This is quite beautiful though. I really do enjoy it. I think there's times, just like with streaming, there's times when documentation is helpful, and there's times when documentation is perhaps not needed, where you can focus more on the moment. There's trade-offs to both. Right now I'm focused on documenting for later enjoyment and reflection, but I'm sacrificing a little bit of direct interfacing with my environment. So I think there's positives and negatives to both. It will help me later when I look back on this stream to think about, well, what were the things I was thinking about? What were my opinions on things? What were this? How did I interact with people, etc. So it's helpful in that aspect. And also, it's fun to talk to other people as well and get their insights. So I value that as well. But then in other times, it's best just to absorb the moment and absorb what's happening in your environment when it's happening. There's actually a lot less people over here. This is nice. I always make it sound like I hate having people around. I do get trapped in that kind of mindset of, how dare these other people are here? But it's like, hello, you're literally here, woman. I'm here too. If I'm here, then other people are allowed to be here. You know what I mean? But I think it's completely normal to think both ways. To be annoyed, but also to realize that you're here. So why would you deprive this experience from anybody else? You know? Everyone's allowed. Everyone needs to share the space. Share the space. I've lost my husband. Where'd he go? I have no idea. Okay, should I stay here or should I try and find him? Oh, here he is. Okay, I found him. We found him. Thing is, I did not want to lose my husband because he has no way of communicating with me. Yeah, my phone works, his doesn't. So, down? Yeah, let's go down. Okay, we're headed down. I need to spit again. Okay, I'm gonna spit. I'll make the camera go forward, so. You had just a little husband reveal during that as I spit. Some people like making really loud noises when they spit. Personally, I don't feel like that makes you spit any better. I feel like you can just like do it quietly.
I think they do because they think it gets more stuff out.
Because they think it gets more stuff out. Personally, I don't think that's required. I think you can just do it quietly. I don't know. I grew up in a household where, because I had 3 siblings, you know, we tried to be a little bit quieter as to not, you know, annoy each other. I say as I cough very loudly. So I have this mindset of you need to fill as little space as possible. You need to make as little noise as possible, you know. So that's how I grew up. That's why I try and make as little noise as possible. Leave as little of a footprint as possible. But not everyone grew up that way. So it does end up, well, anyway, there's not much else I want to say about that. But yeah, I'm glad you all could enjoy the nice fall scenery with me. It's interesting, in the place where I live, the fall scenery started like a month ago, but it seems like it's just starting now. So it kind of starts in different stages, depending on what kind of climate you live in. So it's nice, I'm still able to enjoy the fall, because when I return home, it's not going to be like this. It's going to be, it's going to be gray. But look, there's flowers everywhere. So we're savoring the last little bit. You know, that's what I think variation causes. It causes you to savor temporary moments. When there's impermanence, then there's a sense that it will go away after some point. That's why I do love living in a place that's got 4 seasons, because you don't get it around for forever. It goes away. That's what makes things much more beautiful. You think about flowers, right? Why real flowers are so beautiful, especially when you cut them. They're very temporary. They'll go away. So you have to preserve them, or you want to preserve them. But if you think about like a flower that's permanently reserved, like a fake flower, it's not nearly as beautiful as the delicate flower that eventually wilts and turns brown and returns to the earth from whence it came. Look at me trying to be poetic on the Beijing mountain. Oh, yeah, it's nice. My throat's starting to get a little bit dry though, so I might have to end the stream in a bit, pretty soon. As I'm talking, you hear people coughing behind me. It's their choice. If they don't want to wear a mask, that's fine. It's fine. Whatever you want to do with your body, that's your choice. It is unfortunate though. There's so much I could say about the politics of it, but I won't. I won't say it. But there's so much I could say. At the end of the day, I feel like nobody should have to live with this. Nobody should have to live like this. If you go to Beijing or Mumbai, for example, in India, probably the two worst, here I'll show you, two worst places for air in the entire world. This is the worst air, some of the worst air in the entire world. Yeah, nobody should have to live with this. And it affects everyone, not just poor people, not just, you know, older people. It affects me. My young people like me are also affected by this air. So hopefully things will, it sounds like some changes are being made. I think I mentioned already about how in most of the major cities in China, a lot of the taxis have been changed for, have been switched out from gas to electric. So I'd say like a vast majority of the taxis are electric. A growing proportion of cars on the road are electric. Although I don't know if this is a car problem, it seems more like an industry problem, but I guess the cars do help. It helps it from exasperating the problem, that's for sure. There are also like stores, you have to buy plastic bags. You don't just get them for free, which I enjoy. I know some cities in America are doing that as well. But that's all I'll say.
It drives Americans nuts, though.
It does drive Americans nuts. But they can suck it up. It's not that bad. They can suck it up. They can pay a little bit. When you have to pay, then you think about how many bags you're using. It really causes you to ponder, how many bags do I really need? How many bags do I really want? You know? Oh. Was he saying hello to me? Potentially.
Maybe.
Sometimes people say hello. And then I just say hi. Oh, this is quite pleasant. This is a lot more pleasant than yesterday. Yesterday was not a pleasant day, but this is very nice. I love nature. See, you can have great experiences in nature, even amongst the crowds and the pollution, because nature is just fantastic. It truly is. Nature is truly fantastic. Look at that. I love water. I always tell Alex, water fills me with energy. Water is like the ultimate source of inspiration and energy for me. Ah, delightful. Well, I think this may be a great place to end because I've run out of things to talk about. But it's been fun. It's been great. Thanks for joining me here in the Beijing Botanical Gardens. I'm not sure when I'll stream again, and I'm not sure if I'll stream again on this trip, but if I do, I hope you'll join me. But yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you all for tuning into the stream, watching the VODs. All the people watching the VODs, thank you. Even the fact that you want to spend even a few minutes with me is pretty amazing. So, yeah, I really appreciate you. So, okay. That's all. Take off my mask. There's like a red mark. Bye-bye.